I just want to throw together a few ideas regarding the stories we tell ourselves, the things that we believe. And I'm going to start with a humorous, well, some people will think it's humorous, some may not. But I laughed the first time I heard this joke. The joke is how you'll have an alcoholic who steals $50 from you and they'll express their sorrow. The difference between an alcoholic and an addict is the addict will steal $50 from you and then spend 4 hours helping you try to find it. But then, there's a different side to this, and it's probably one I'm suspecting most people don't think about is, well, what about the codependent? The person that's in the other 12-step program, friends of family and friends of alcoholics. And what made me think of it is a woman who was telling her story that just floored me. It's like, whoa, man, she's being brutally honest. And she talked about how she justified to herself stabbing her husband in the back when he was passed out in bed, and she stabbed him, I don't know, 4 or 5 times. I mean, it wasn't like lethal blows or anything, but she was still doing it. She had a butcher knife and she was stabbing him. And, I'm pretty sure it wasn't, some god awful stabs, because otherwise she would be telling the story from prison, and then she went on to explain how he didn't wake up while she was doing this, but she was so mad at him over his drinking that she justified, stabbing the guy. And the person that steals the $50, they're somehow justifying it. And people justify not sobering up, and when it's like life or death. And they choose death. To some degree, they're choosing death rather than life. But I don't think people understand that that's what's happening. I mean, if they knew better, they would do better. There's just something in me that believes that. I don't know if it's true, and we all have our lessons to learn in life. But, if I could remove one word from the English language, it might be, off the top of my head, the word victim. And not that there are no victims in life, because there is, but what happens to us and what we do about it are two different worlds. And if you've ever read any books by people who have been through hell and back, but yet decided to forgive and to have a good life anyway, like Corrie ten Boom, she said we have to forgive regardless of the temperature of our hearts. But, the story she told herself about what people were doing to her and other people, and her reaction to it, she took her power back, and she kept her eyes steadfast to her faith. Man's Search for Meaning, If you haven't read that book, I strongly advise that you pick it up and study it. Don't just read it, study it. That guy didn't build pedestals in hell for the people that incarcerated him in a concentration camp. And I've known people that were severely abused in life who turned out to be really loving, caring human beings that walked forward with their abuse and in a spirit of love to help other people that are going through something. They're making something beautiful in the here and now of their lives in conjunction with the lives of other people. You know, if you know me at all, you know I drove under the influence. I was in a stolen car. I had made some really rash, bad decisions. I was a practicing alcoholic. I don't say that as an excuse, you know, it's just where I was at. And had I sobered up, I would have never killed someone. And why would I live a life that would endanger myself and other people? You know, they say alcoholics are selfish. Well, I was endangering myself. So how is selfishness part of the picture at that time? It was true. Yeah, I was probably selfish. But when it comes to the disease of perception that happens when a brain is inebriated for an alcoholic and sometimes even a problem drinker, you know, that whole paradigm of choice loses its power. It loses its sensibility. And, you know, those of us that are out there hurting people, it's like Joyce Meyer, you know, she pointed out, hurting people hurt people. And I don't know, it was 5 or 10 years ago, a thought came into my head, maybe even longer back, but it's like, heal people, heal people. And then through the years, I started hearing a few other people say that too, you know, and that's changing the story. Change the story. This is like the sign for change, you know, change the story. And change the story of pain into forgiveness. And I've said this before, forgiveness runs deeper than the offense that calls it into place. So again, I'm going to always close with what I'm tending to close with is go tell 3 people a day that you love them. If you don't, you probably wasted a day of your life. And maybe one of those 3 people will be someone you don't want to say it to. And that's exactly how that should go. Don't just tell the easy ones. Find someone you don't want to say it to. Find someone you think you're smarter than. You know, somebody who disagrees with you about important things, things that are important to you, you know, and you don't want to make amends to somebody or allow them to make amends to you, or they have different, far different paradigms than you know. Probably one of the seemingly incendiary divisive topics these days is, you know, health issues. And wear a mask, don't wear a mask, get a shot, don't get a shot, or various political things or religious things. And there's so many sensitive areas, but I kind of think that our ego is just eating us alive, man. You know, it's dividing us. And a house divided can't stand. And you know what I'm talking about if you've read that somewhere before. So hopefully you'll contemplate what I'm talking about here, and not do the contempt prior to investigation thing, assuming that if you say, I love you to someone, that they won't receive it right. It's not about the receipt. It's about the giving. It's better to give than to receive. Peace out.